morning, class. Today we will be talking about managing intraday liquidity risk in banking. The goal of today's simulation is to see how much cash Safe Bank should have on hand to start each day and to minimize cost to Safe Bank while still maintaining low risk of running out of each type of currency. There are a few assumptions we have of the model. The first is that 0.5% of Global Bank's charges are independent from the amount we are charging, and they are paid in US dollars. Additionally, during a swap, if we are running low in British pounds or euros, we will pay Global Bank in US dollars, except for when running low in US dollars, we will pay Global Bank in euros. It is also important to note that entities were not modeled as each different client number, but by currency in. For the purposes of this simulation, we do not care which client brought in each currency, only the amounts and types of currencies that was traded. Each subset of arrival times were put into the input analyzer to find the best fit distribution. All of them were exponentially distributed, so we took the means of each of these subsets. Here you can see examples of how the inter-arrival times were entered for each entity or currency. After the data was subsetted by each type of currency, the amount of currency in was put into the input analyzer. All of the amounts of currency in were exponentially distributed, so the means were taken. These values were assigned as the initial costs associated with each type of currency coming in.
The proportion of transactions in each currency type was found to be the same for the amount in and amount out of the respective currency type. The proportion of each currency type coming in and being converted to one of the other two currencies was modeled in the path weights from each entity to the respective server. As you can see, 76% of US dollars coming in is converted to euros. The other 24% is converted to pounds. In order to model the exchange rates from the provided data, we divided the amount of cash out by the amount of cash in for the respective currency types. The exchange rates were associated with each conversion server by updating the state variables with these rates. As you can see, Great Britain pounds appear to be the most valuable. One replication was run starting with 10 billion on hand for each currency type, and we got the following results. As you can see, Safe Bank ran out of GBP, so we knew how much we needed to increase the cash on hand amount for GBP. This is also how we track the minimum levels of cash on hand for each type of currency. We ran 10 replications to make sure our cash levels were never below zero. Our probability of never running out of cash was less than 0.01%. One replication was run and 8 occurrences of a swap were found to be triggered when Great Britain pounds hit the trigger point. We would like to have only 1 or 2 swaps occur for each currency in order to avoid the costs associated with using Global Bank for swaps.
As you can see from the model entities are
represented by the symbols used for the dollar, Great British pound, and euro. Those are fed into the 3 sources. Each currency feeds into the respective source, and then based on the proportions out of those sources, they go to the servers where they're exchanged for the currencies. There's 6 servers in the middle. Each of those servers has the chance of going to the Globo exchange based on how much currency there currently is. There is a sufficient amount of that currency, they will go to the sink and exit the system. As the system ends, at the end of the day, our 4th entity will enter and swap out the currency for the end of the day. This entity is represented by the great looking Claudia. At the end of the day, the opportunity cost is updated. A Simio animation to track the relevant state variables over time. The green line is the United States dollars, the yellow line is the Great British pound, and the red line is the euro. The line at the very bottom is the profit, which appears to be around 0, but this is just because it is very small compared to the amounts of currencies we have on hand. As these currencies get really low, they'll bounce back up to prevent them from going below 0. This is a result of the global bank workstations. So for our results, the swap trigger points were calculated by subsetting the data by the type of currency going out. US dollars will be used as the example, but these calculations were done for all three currencies. The 30-minute time frame with the highest amount of US currency leaving the bank was chosen for the analysis. The amount of US dollars leaving in those 30 minutes was summed. The same 30-minute time frame was chosen, and the amount of US dollars entering in those 30 minutes was summed. The amount out was subtracted from the amount in, and $1 billion was added to this amount. This is the value used for the trigger point of each currency. The swap amount was calculated in a similar manner. The swap amount was calculated by calculating the time at which the amount of a currency exceeded the amount in 30-minute intervals. The time left in the day after this point was found, and the amount out and in were summed. The amount out was subtracted from the amount in, and $1 billion was added to this amount. This is the value used for the swap amount in each currency. The profit was calculated as the cost of the swaps, plus the revenue from the transactions, plus the opportunity costs of cash on hand. Multiple replications were run with varying starting amounts of cash on hand. The analysis completed on these results found 0 swaps each day for each of the currencies maximized profits. This leads to the conclusion that the cost of having 1 swap per day with Global Bank was higher than the opportunity cost of having extra cash on hand at the start of each day. The costs of a swap calculations are multiplied by the exchange rate of the currency they are paid in. This was done in Simio for the opportunity cost of cash on hand shown in United States dollars. The opportunity cost of having extra cash on hand was calculated by subtracting the cash on hand at the end of the day from the cash on hand at the start of day and multiplying by an 8% annual rate of return